on today's World Insight. For the first time, all 10 BRICS members will meet in Kazan, Russia for the 16th BRICS Summit. Join CGTN's Tian Wei as guests from all countries gather for an online forum and discuss the new opportunities and challenges of the expanded BRICS bloc.
Hello and welcome to Cooperation in Transformation, a special production featuring media personalities and those from think tanks from BRICS countries. I'm Tian Wei from China. I'm the moderator and host of CGTN. As you know, BRICS is an intergovernmental organization. It started with 4 original members, but this year, at the upcoming BRICS Summit 2024, it will be celebrating 10 member countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. With an exciting expansion, BRICS aspires to be greater success through cooperation, and the media remains an important bridge to connect the member countries and promote mutual understanding both within BRICS and beyond. And that's why today we have invited the media personalities and those from think tanks for this roundtable from all BRICS countries. Each one of them, every one of them, is critical voice from their own culture and region. And this is guaranteed a long-cherished moment when all voices from BRICS countries will be heard, all at the same time, right before the BRICS Summit 2024. So here we are, and it's my great honor to present my great friends.
Hello, I'm Claudia Dreyer from Brazil.
Hello, I am Ahmed Saad from Egypt.
I'm Tolera Gamta from Ethiopia.
I'm Dr. Arvind Elleri from India.
Hi, I'm Bobby Naderi from Iran.
Hello, I'm Dmitry Babich from Russia.
Hi, I'm Riz Khan from Saudi Arabia.
Hello, I'm Najla Zaraoni from the United Arab Emirates.
Hello, my name is Ayanda Holo, TV BRICS Africa from South Africa.
And hello, I'm Tian Wei from China. It's such a pleasure to have all of you to join us for this roundtable. This is a rare opportunity that we can have all the voices from media and think tanks being heard from the BRICS countries right before the summit. Now, let me ask you about the BRICS expansion from 4 to 10 now. What does this mean? What kind of opportunity is this presenting to the rest of the world?
So I think that represents diversity, a very important diversity of thinking, of cultures. So the adding of more countries to the BRICS group, I think could be really, really very important for business, for growing, for understanding each other, and for the empowerment of the BRICS group.
Well, I think that the expansion of BRICS is a hope that the world will return to normalcy. In the last few years, we saw so many divisions in this world. Especially the Western media divided the world into democracies, autocracies, partially free, totally free countries. And we are moving away from normalcy when every country had the right to be represented and every country was connected with something positive. BRICS is a chance because all kinds of political systems are represented in BRICS.
So, well, BRICS has been a response to non-inclusive world order, and that's the reason, BRICS came into existence. BRICS was a response as an alternative voice to the domination of G7. And as a result of it, I see that, BRICS has been a voice for all the regional trends, sub-regional trends, local voices in the global south and international. So as a result of this, any expansion would mean that there is more voices to those who were unheard, those more voices to those people who were left out in the process of integration.
BRICS certainly brings for South Africa and Africa at large benefits, most especially for the youth. Africa is a young continent, and it's quite important that our growth is not just a jobless growth, it's not just an empty growth, but it's a growth that can ensure economic sovereignty.
Well, those are the members originally already in the BRICS, and now we have the opportunity to hear the voices coming from the new members. Let's go to Egypt.
We wanted to find a way to enhance its economic and investment links, especially in Asia and African regions. And we wanted to find the way to end the unpolar system and the world dominated by Western countries and leading BRICS to find a way to bilateral world that balance to the world economic power and govern the global economic system.
Yeah, for Ethiopia, now Ethiopia is undergoing a major economic reform since July. And now, in view of this, Ethiopian people would benefit from BRICS in terms of accessing larger markets and accessing even better alternative financial system that we think BRICS would provide, particularly in terms of loan, in terms of aid and the like, so that would actually enhance the Ethiopia's plan to achieve fast economic growth.
The BRICS has been the symbol of the new world order, the voice of the voiceless among the developing nations, including Iran. 4 decades ago, Iran's main trading partners were EU and Japan. Now it is China and the rest of the member states of the BRICS. The outcome has been fantastic. Iran has managed to have greater voice at the UN when it comes to support and protect its sovereignty. At the same time, Iran has been able to develop its infrastructure. It has been able to build new ports, new highways. Iran has also been able to avoid isolation among the international community, because the BRICS are not only helping each other with regard to economy, they also back each other at the UN and other important gatherings.
I think one of the key things that BRICS, and particularly BRICS Plus, brings is a chance to counter what has been a very strong Western domination across the global order. And especially when it comes to the dollar, which has a chokehold on global economies through the transactions, banking transactions, and of course, oil trading, which is diminishing a bit, at least now. But what it does say to the strong Western domination, particularly US influence at a global level, is that there is another world order that is starting to reshape, where the voiceless are being heard. For the Middle East in particular, in countries like Saudi Arabia, it's a chance to start looking east and not have to only look west, which has been the issue in the past. And being in the middle of the world to some degree, for countries like Saudi Arabia, this makes a massive difference in having trading partners that come with some equality from the east as well.
I think the greatest, I would say, interest for the UAE to join the BRICS is to maybe provide more connection and more joining of the dots from all around the world. The UAE, although being a small country in terms of size, population, has been excelling at different files and sectors worldwide. So speaking of food security, renewable energy, I would say sustainable economy, all financial systems as well, the UAE has been showing an excellent experience worldwide. Also, when it comes to the physical connectivity, speaking of aviation, maritime, ports management, the UAE has shown like an excellent performance and has been enjoying very diplomatic and I would say comprehensive strategic partnerships with countries, the old member or the founders of the BRICS. And so it's the good time for now to maybe have the UAE to enhance the BRICS and maybe make it more mature of having such an international player, I would say, worldwide.
Well, as we know earlier, people look at the world as one polar, unipolar world, or they were thinking maybe the world will be turned into bipolar world. But now over the time, we have found out this is really a multipolar world we're talking about here, and that's why BRICS is having its own significance. But collectively, what kind of voice can we be? Ritz, you're a very experienced journalist. What is your take?
Thank you, Wei. One of the issues is that, unlike, for example, the European Union, where there is, first of all, geographical proximity, the issue or the challenge that BRICS and BRICS Plus especially faces is that the countries are very diverse geographically positioned, and in terms of culture and in terms of historical connections. So although BRICS is a fantastic and powerful voice to try to redress the kind of Western domination of the past, I think the challenge will be for those countries to find unity through those different challenges that I just mentioned. But it is good that there is something to challenge the way the world sits in terms of where its eyes are facing. They have moved away from the West, and it creates a great opportunity for powerful countries like China, India, and some of those to actually rise.
Some say the expansion of the BRICS might dilute the possibility of reaching consensus. So I really want your response from South Africa. What do you think? What kind of voice collectively can we be?
I think it's a misnomer that the more we are, the more dilution is going to happen, because that's come from the mindset of trying to be dominant to others. But if you have the respect of values of others, then you will definitely know that each and every one of us can contribute something towards the whole. And I think it's we are different cultures, we are different civilization, but one thing that keeps us in common and to prosper and be at peace with each other is ensuring that whatever I do does not destroy others. We won't be able to reach our climate change goals if we have a mindset that the more we are around the table, we are diluting what needs to happen. I firmly believe that the more we are and the more voices and representation that is respectful and is done in a way to ensure that each and every one of us can really get and move forward through consensus.
But do you see this is going to be an organization against the West, or this is an organization that's actually has a very strong core to move forward with some of the issues facing our economies and our societies? From UAE, please.
I mean, in the UAE, we don't really view it as like a bloc against the West, especially because the UAE can play a very critical role in maybe bridging between the global South and the BRICS and the, I would say, the traditional blocs established by the West. There is no issue and there is no harm of being different, and there is no issue maybe of having different views. This is not to say that there will not necessarily be consensus. Rather, it means that we will be able to complement each other because we are different. So we have different pieces in the global South and we have different pieces in the global North. And like us in the BRICS, we want to really be able to achieve the greater common good and the greater will of achieving some global issues such as climate change, food security, sustainable development, gender equality, without dealing with different societies from the global North. So in the UAE, we don't really view the BRICS as alternative. Rather, I think it's more of like a complementary a bloc that maybe would ensure more of inclusive, I would say, area for other countries to join the global platform and maybe bring more solutions to the global discussion of the international affairs and international issues.
On the one hand, we need to make sure there are decisions being made that our involvement is part of it. On the other hand, there is also, over the decades, a lack of voices coming from emerging and developing countries that you will be able to heard on a large scale in the international media, or both in the North and in the South. So what kind of opportunity can this bring to us when BRICS collectively could speak in a much larger voice, a much constructive voice? What kind of stories you want to bring to the BRICS, and also through BRICS to the rest of the world? Barbish, please, from Russia, what do you think are the stories that need to be heard both by one another within the BRICS and beyond from your parts of the world?
Well, I think that cooperation between BRICS countries, it does not necessarily need to be local. I mean, for example, China now has more economic ties with some Latin American countries than these countries have with the United States. not only with Venezuela or Cuba, but also other Latin American countries. I will not give the list now. They are more connected to China economically than to the United States. We're living in a different world now. It's not the 19th century when you were kind of a hostage of geography, where you live, you determine your life, basically. I think you asked a very good question. Is it against the West or is it with the West? I think BRICS should be against monopoly. There is one lesson that we learned from the 20th century, that monopoly is awful. This is what makes people poor and unhappy. Monopoly in economy, monopoly in ideology.
Okay, Ritz, please.
Yeah, what I think is that it's a chance for the BRICS countries to actually be able to express different cultures, not as Dmitry has said, the monopolistic values of the West have been very dominant. I mean, Hollywood is the biggest international drug. It sets the scene, it sets the lifestyle, it sets the standards. And now I think other countries are starting to tell their stories, and this is what it's all about. China has an amazing film industry that's actually penetrating into Western minds a bit more, for example. Bollywood, the Indian film industry has been there. And I think these create a different narrative that says we don't have to be like the West all the time. So I think the voices can actually come out as individualistic cultures that can be diverse, that can be also a little bit different enough for people to say we don't have to be only aspiring to a Western or Western-dominated lifestyle.
Coming from China, I guess I also need to have our voice heard a little bit in this conversation. As all of you know, there's a Global Development Initiative, Global Civilization Initiative, and Global Security Initiative, together with the Belt and Road Initiative. These are all proposals that China put forward to the international community for multilateral development. And certainly those ideas are also the basis for China's participating as a journalist, as far as I understand, as members of the BRICS. BRICS matters to more people around the world than ever before. With expanded membership, greater diversity, broader representation, BRICS is becoming an increasingly important platform for multilateralism, making bigger contributions to global governance. Join us at BRICS Summit 2024 for a grand roundtable with media leaders from all BRICS countries, in-depth conversations with newsmakers about the underlying currents shaping the world. Cooperation in Transformation, our special production, BRICS Summit 2024.
After expansion, the proportion of the BRICS organization's land area has increased from 26% to 32% of the world's total, and the total population has increased from 42% to 47%. The global GDP share of Greater BRICS in purchasing power parity has increased from 31.6% to 35.6%. The share of BRICS countries in world crude oil exports has increased from 15% to 36%. BRICS countries have strong trade complementarity and great development potential. In the field of energy, Russia and newly joined Saudi Arabia, the UAE and Iran are all important energy exporters, with oil production reaching about 40% of the world's share, and China and India are major energy consumers. In the field of agriculture, the first BRICS countries are all important agricultural countries, accounting for 40% of the world's total grain production and more than 50% of the world's agricultural output value.
Among the BRICS members, the BRICS Plus, there are many energy-rich countries, especially oil and natural gas. We also see economies are trying to make that green transition. This is especially interesting with an expanded BRICS. To you, Ritz, from Saudi Arabia, of course, oil is a key component, but green transition taking place.
The Gulf region, countries like Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, of course, and all the oil producers in this region realize that it's not a sustainable model for an economy to depend entirely on fossil fuel. And that transition has been taking place over the past, well, at least one decade in real earnest in order to try to create alternative energy sources, renewables, and to take away the dependence on economy growth based on those. And it's very visible coming to these countries. If you come and visit the Gulf region, you will see a real effort to try to change the dynamic. So I think it fits in with the model of progress and true commitment, and that's really encouraging.
You already queued UAE, so I would like Najla to also talk.
With the establishment of the UAE, yes, we relied on the oil, to grow up and to establish our economy. But within a very short time, we were able to move towards more of a green economy. As we are planning by 2030, is to rely 0% on oil to maybe operate our GDP and to operate our economy. And this would maybe provide a very good example in that whenever we have, let's say, an issue, for example, the reliance and the dependency on oil, we should be sort of establishing an international effort to not only to maybe reflect our desire to move towards the green economy, but also to maybe help other countries as well in their readiness to maybe face the future challenges. As now we see many countries are still relying on their oil for their economy, and at the same time we are facing climate change. So it's a good time maybe to sort of find a solution that would help solving both issues.
As you see, Aravind, both the green transition and the digital transition taking place right now is going to be very crucial for the fate of any country, their development and their potential. How do you see a expanded now BRICS or BRICS Plus can make better decisions and be able to share better, be able to make an example and a successful model for other countries, whether they are least developed economies, developing economies, emerging economies, middle power, or some of the biggest powers of the world, for them to see that they all have a future in this?
Certainly, I think that environmental disaster, environmental concerns, and climate change is going to be the major point of contestation among the BRICS countries and beyond BRICS. As a result of it, if you see, let's take example of Brazil, Russia, and India. We almost spend about 30%, 35% of our GDP in procuring the existing energy resources and also trying to improve our technologies with regard to the green technologies concerned. China is certainly a leader, and then Russia in the fossil fuels. So the solution to the hydrocarbons is not eliminating the hydrocarbons, but trying to balance the importance of the hydrocarbons as well as the new energy. Remember one thing, what we have been facing, the major problems, the BRICS countries, under the pretext of environmental concerns, such as unilateral and discriminatory carbon border adjustment mechanisms, which are known as CBAMs, we have been facing a lot of problems. We have been facing a lot of tariff bans. We have been facing a lot of difficult situations with regard to the meeting of our needs. At the same time, as far as this COP28 is concerned, we need to be absolutely sure that we do not really make major faults over here. We have to be balancing both things. If you give the example of India needs approximately $160 billion every year for the alternative technologies. So you remember the right question which you had asked. There are countries in this group now, the BRICS Plus countries, who are actually the oil producing, petroleum producing, or the fossil producing countries.
As you know, the story of electronic vehicles is a very interesting one and reflective one on some of the latest debates going on. On the one hand, you can see China as a developing and emerging economy plan ahead, 15 and even 20 years ahead, to have a strategic and deliberate policy choices to encourage sustainable development products such as electronic vehicles, and also to make sure financing will be there, legal framework will be there to guard against any pollution or any exploiter of the nature, to encourage production of electronic vehicles and the use of that. But on the other hand, you also see as an emerging economy, when its productive power and also when its technology has become top of the world and could provide the rest of the world with a very relatively inexpensive choice for electronic vehicles, some of the developed economies are getting concerned that their advantage is going to be taken away. And as a result of that, it becomes a trade problem. And one could also say there are geopolitics behind it as well. So this is a very interesting story. I mean, as you are sharing your parts of the story about green transition, this is also an interesting story that facing our country and our people as we talk about the green transition. I really wonder, as any one of you have been taking an interest in the story and your take on, the latest development. Bobby.
Well, green transition is very important topic. As I told you, Iran has failed so far, as you know, because it is producing oil and gas. Why should it buy electric vehicles? It doesn't need that. No, it needs. Go there and see the climate disasters that is happening day in, day out in Iran. We don't have rain. We don't have snow. We don't have water, all because Iran has focused only on oil and gas. And that is bad news, not just for Iran, but also for its neighbors. I think Iran needs more than any other country in the region to develop a transition to green energy. And it needs all the help it can get from other countries, especially China. China is fantastic in producing electric cars. China has been fantastic in digital economy. I think it has a lot of lessons to teach to other members of the BRICS, especially BRICS Plus, and Iran is going definitely to take some lessons from that. So let's cross our fingers and hope that this is going to happen. As I told you, we need intra-BRICS digital technology transition and integration. We need this kind of cooperation. In 50 years' time, there will be no oil and gas. That time, we would need something to replace it. And I think the best option would be green and clean energy.
Ayanda?
I just want to bring the table around the fact that the critical minerals are in Africa. The global warming and everything that has happened is not because of Africa. So it's quite important that we take that our green transition to be people-centered, meaning that we do need to develop Africa. As I said, we have, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa promises of leading the world in green hydrogen. So and all other these critical minerals are in Africa. And Africa has said quite clearly that it won't transition from the dark. Africa is not yet industrialized, and part of not having those industries, its voices in the global conversations around the tables in the boardrooms of the world is very, very minimal. So the young people of Africa, at least now we still have formations. 20, 30 years later, half of Africa could be like the Sahel region. Young people making sure that no resource will leave Africa without the development of people of Africa. So I think it's quite important that we take that seriously enough as one of the biggest risks. It doesn't matter which group we are in, whether it's G20, whether it's BRICS, but Africans need to transform in exactly the same manner and do exactly what China did of getting people out of poverty. We cannot be transitioning people in the dark, people hungry and with energy poverty and people dying every day.
There's another question regarding the future of economics and trade of the BRICS countries and BRICS Plus. That is, what kinds of role international governance will the BRICS countries play? According to the forecast by the IMF, the BRICS will constitute 37% of the global GDP by the year 2027. Of course, that's the estimate from now, compared with 28% by the G7. So that number is quite clear over there. International governance-wise, global governance-wise, Arayand, how do you see the BRICS and BRICS Plus be able to collectively make its mark?
If you talk about the BRICS countries, I would tell you that, with regard to India, we recorded over 130 billion intra-BRICS trade by 2023. That means that we have traded enormously within BRICS member countries. And this is a significant transition as far as India is concerned, because India believes that BRICS has potential to resolve any dispute or any deficiencies with regard to trade and investment is concerned. All these countries have capabilities to meet the needs of each other. As a result of it, India has been strengthening its relationship with the countries from Africa, with the countries from South America. So it makes India, learn a lot from the intra-BRICS, mechanisms. But the important thing, what BRICS should be looking into, it's not only about increasing the footprint, but importantly, bringing a cohesion among all these member countries are necessary. Why the cohesion is important? Because cohesion is something which would be essential to institutionalize various BRICS initiatives. There is one BRICS initiative which is absolutely earning worldwide praise, that is the NDB, New Development Bank. And I think around the same line, most of these countries, inter-BRICS countries, have potential to work on the finances, work on the trade liberalizations, work on, offering great opportunities to work with each other. And that is where I think that the BRICS will stand out.
Okay, I want to ask the same question to Riz.
One of the key factors is the scale of the population when you consider the BRIC countries. I mean, they have, population-wise, the two largest countries in the world, both economic powerhouses now, China and India, of course. You have Brazil, also a massive country with a great scale of economy. The potential is huge. So the figures are not surprising that basically the BRICS countries, the BRICS plus countries even, are ready to overtake the established institutions that have dominated the world when it comes to finance and economic scale. I think that what we've proved through the BRICS liaison and the BRICS plus liaison is that there is a great will for these countries to show their economic power, and they have been moving forward without the baggage, the legacy baggage that a lot of the Western nations and Western unions, such as the EU, have. And this gives the BRICS plus a great advantage. I really believe that's going to be a strong factor.
With an expanded BRICS, with urgency to deal with both the crisis and the potential of the world, how much will BRICS and BRICS plus collectively be able to make its mark on global governance? How much consensus can be collected at this time, for example, about that? Riz.
I think it will take time for the BRICS to come together in a more cohesive manner, especially with the expansion as we see BRICS plus. I think one of the key factors is you have a diversity of economies, a diversity of cultures and languages, and of course the geographic positioning of each of these countries. They don't sit as neighbors to each other in every instance. So that is an advantage in that it brings diversity, but it also creates the challenge of communication across time zones, different, and different areas. So I think that will be a factor in determining how quickly the BRICS countries can start to build that global governance. But I think the one thing that can be learned from the Western institutions that were established way back, going back to the state of the First World War and Second World War and post-war environment, is that they can learn from the mistakes of the West. And I think the West, which drew lines in the sand to define colonial boundaries, have set their own standards, and the BRICS plus countries can learn from the mistakes made of the past. And that gives a chance to create a new standard of global governance, a new kind of trading system, new kind of currency. It's all developing quite quickly now.
BRICS matters to more people around the world than ever before. With expanded membership, greater diversity, broader representation, BRICS is becoming an increasingly important platform for multilateralism, making bigger contributions to global governance. Join us at BRICS Summit 2024 for a grand roundtable with media leaders from all BRICS countries, in-depth conversations with newsmakers about the underlying currents shaping the world. Cooperation in Transformation, our special production, BRICS Summit 2024.
BRICS members come from different continents of the globe and bring unique cultures together. Cultural exchanges between some members can be dated back 1,000 years along the ancient Silk Road. With a fragmenting geopolitical global system and economic challenges, It is extremely important to build mutual understanding within the BRICS cooperation mechanism. Many believe close exchanges, mutual learning, and strengthening dialogue and cooperation among BRICS countries will help them work together towards modernization, provide new solutions to global challenges, and promote the building of a more just and equitable international order. With the expansion of the organization, BRICS members can learn from one another's successful experiences, achieve their respective modernization goals through mutually beneficial cooperation, and promote more inclusive and sustainable common development.
As we know, ladies and gentlemen, many of our countries throughout decades have not yet had abundant opportunities to speak to one another directly, face to face, but rather only learn about each other through a third party. And as we know, that is not the most efficient way, and that is not going to get us the accurate information, usually twisted information and misunderstanding. How can we now take best advantage of the BRICS platform and be able to know each other better, to appreciate each other's culture in a much, shall I say, more intellectual way?
Well, we have seen for these 5 years of cultural exchange between Brazil and China Media Group. That is very, very important. The audiovisual contents contribute a lot for us to understand each other. We have been shown broadcasted in our pay TV channels and also at our platforms with a very successful experience with the Brazilian audience. Economically, also, financially also, but especially to bring new views, to understand better. For example, China, for us here in Brazil, represents almost another planet. It's very far away from us, but now we are closer. Now we are understanding better each other. So especially the new generations are very, very open, much more open to this global view of we are all together, we are not apart, we are all together. I think that is the biggest contribution.
Thank you. Aravind.
Yes, so you have really asked an important question. All of us are so away from each other. There used to be a term lost in translation, but there is a new term to let it lost in translation because of which these miscommunications have created. I was in Beijing Cultural Forum, Beijing Wenhua Luntan, last month, and I have learned something which is very significant. The China's forays into AI, digitization, and civilizational heritage, China's experiment with the virtual labs is something which we need to learn and conserve. This is something which is important for most of our countries to conserve and disseminate the history, disseminate the civilizational learnings. This is something which is very important. That's where, where we have to have the best confluence of technology, best confluence of human mind, and best confluence of the human history can make it happen. So this is where we stand. We have to exploit the cultural heritage by exchanging our ideas to the maximum optimally.
Thank you very much. Ahmed.
Let me talk about my work because I'm working as a reporter for Chinese embassy in Cairo. And actually, Chinese embassy is a very active embassy in Cairo, that they make many conferences. They wanted to make the exchange project, and now they make Chinese language that you can study it in the school, in secondary school. So they working hardly to enhance the cooperation and the exchange between Egypt and China, and in many fields. We are all civilization, so I think even that I can't understand Chinese language, but I feel that the Chinese people is close to us, and they have the same shade.
Let's go to Tolela.
Yeah, I believe that cultural understanding and promoting mutual cultural understandings can serve as a springboard even for the economic cooperation and the economic integration at a broader level. you correctly say that there was not even a platform to promote these cultural understandings for particularly global south due to the aspect of that what we call globalization is highly dominated by certain culture from West. Otherwise, this is a great opportunity for the BRIC Plus to promote our culture, our mutual understanding and goals. By doing this, we can use, this time, the technology provides really a good opportunity for us, all of us. We can use technology as the best employment of technology to promote culture and mutual understanding between different countries between countries of BRIC countries and beyond.
Okay.
So that I believe that by doing cultural understanding between member countries, it is easy to facilitate economic collaboration and the community cooperation to the level of economic integration and then to the level of actually promoting mutual development.
Ritz.
The internet changed everything when it came to culture, and there's a generation now that has far more in common across the world than the previous generations. I remember 25 years ago walking down Nanjing Road in Shanghai, beautiful city, and everyone was on a mobile phone. Everyone was using the most advanced aspects of the mobile phone more than those in America, and my American colleagues were shocked. I think they still think, at that time, they maybe thought China's still backwards, it's rice paddy fields and that they think the Middle East is, Bedouins and camels. There's a change. The internet changed everything. And I think what's happened with the newer generation, they're far more culturally open to the idea of the similarities rather than the differences. And then we have the magic of AI, which is going to make language and communication far easier than ever before. I would have no fear going to any country, not that I did before, but I would have no fear going to a country and knowing that I can open my phone and before long, I will speak, it will speak back, and I will be able to communicate. That is such a blessing, although I wish I could learn those languages of the BRICS countries.
Wow, what an inspiring conversation we are having today. There are a lot of food for thoughts and also insights from different parts of the world. They're all unique, probably, to one another. And yet, from here, we can build a better future together. I want to express my sincere appreciation and thanks to all of your participation, and also wish all of you great health and great life. Thank you so much. We're looking forward to the BRICS Summit 2024. And with that, we wrap up our special program, Cooperation in Transition. We will bring you more on the 2024 BRICS Summit from Kazan. I'm Tian Wei, the host of the program. On behalf of my team, thank you so much for being with us. Bye for now.